You have your cake. Your cake is diet and training. Then you got your frosting, right? You got your frosting. And your whipped cream. You know what that is? That's your supplements. You know what post-workout nutrition is? It's if you decide to put a little bit of rainbow sprinkles on top. Boom! Boom! What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com CEO, MTS Nutrition. This comes from my Facebook page, my fan page, Facebook.com/Marc Lobliner. This question comes from Brandon Brenner. Remember, guys, if you go to my Facebook fan page, basically the stickied post at the top, okay? The sticky, the one that stays there, is asking for your questions that I answer here. And the questions I answer on YouTube get a free tub of MTS waste sent to their house. That's right. Brandon asked, the post-workout anabolic window, is that really a thing or is it a matter of total macros at the end of the day? I keep hearing that it's not a big issue from certain people in the industry. Put an exclamation point at the end. Thought that was funny. You know, the post-workout anabolic window is absolutely legit. It absolutely exists. However, it lasts about 24 to 39 hours. Now, if you are to take in carbohydrate immediately post-workout, I'm talking within a 30-minute to an hour time frame, you are going to more rapidly flood your body with glycogen, with glucose, with proteins, with amino acids, and that will replenish you faster. It will get your recovery going faster. However, your body isn't that simple. Your body will recover without that. Is it optimal to have nutrients post-workout? Absolutely. Even though it would take years and years and years of adherence to proper, meaning within an hour of training, let's say, post-workout nutrition, that being either a 1-to-1 protein to carb ratio. I've even seen a straight protein post-workout study where it showed that that is just as effective at increasing protein synthesis as having protein and carbs. So my whole thing is, yes, it is optimal to have a protein shake or some form of nutrition immediately post-workout. However, we are negating a couple factors. One is, excuse me, is your diet on point the rest of the time? Number two is, are you having intra-workout nutrition? If you're having branched amino acids, like I recommend 2 scoops of machine fuel during training, do you really need that influx of amino acids and carbohydrate post-workout to replenish if you're replenishing as you go? So one thing that really gets my goat is when people have really shitty diets and don't train very hard, but yet think they've earned a post-workout shake. Chances are you didn't. In the best, most hardcore extreme weight training workout, you are lucky to burn 50 grams of carbohydrate. A lot of post-workout shakes I see are 50 to 75 to 100 grams of carbohydrate. I don't see that as necessary. In fact, old school Celtec was 75 grams of dextrose. People thought it was the creatine causing the bloating. No, it was the fact you just took in 75 grams of glucose. Of course you're gonna get bloated. Had nothing to do with the creatine, and that's what gave the creatine on the market right now, even though it doesn't cause bloating. Oh, creatine bloats me. No, it doesn't, man. It's the fact you were taking in 75 grams of carbohydrate in one big bolus in 32 ounces of water. Of course that shit's gonna blow you. So I always say, before looking at optimizing post-workout nutrition, make sure your diet is optimized. Are you measuring out your food? Are you aiming to consistently gain or lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, depending on your phase? If I have someone gaining lean mass, I like them to gain around 2 pounds a month. If I have someone losing fat, I like them to lose around 1 to 2 pounds a week. So it depends on all that. Also, your training, is it intense enough? Is it hard enough to actually deplete enough glycogen for a surge of glycogen, seriously, or a surge of glucose or whatever, or carbohydrate and protein, or just a big bolus to replenish that? Is it enough to really warrant that? Also, are you a bodybuilder? Are you going for aesthetics, or are you a performance athlete? Now, I will tell you this. If I have a basketball player who is practicing at 6 p.m., he has another practice the next day, anytime during the day, and he goes through whatever they do for, their conditioning, plus he does a full 2 hours of basketball, you're damn right I'm gonna slam a post-workout shake in that person to make sure that they're able to recover and perform the next day. Bodybuilders just don't train as hard as real athletes, as basketball players, as football players. I want athletes who are doing athletic events. For example, my daughter during a soccer game at center mid is running 6 to 7 miles a game. I was talking to a college coach the other day. His center mid, they tracked it, runs between 9 and 10 miles a given game, and they play sometimes in tournaments 3 games a weekend. That is 30 miles in a weekend. Of course, I'm going to want to get some nutrition to them right away. Of course, that increase in glycogen supercompensation is going to aid in their recovery. However, for a bodybuilder training once a day, who essentially sits down between sets, is lucky to burn around 50 grams of carbohydrate, not really seeing the benefit to it. However, when I have clients who I know what they're eating, I give them a set number of fat, carb, and protein macronutrients per day. I like to see them get in a scoop of carb 10, which is 25 grams of carbs, and a scoop of whey protein, which is 25 grams of protein of MTS whey. Now, by doing that, I ensure that they have proper nutrients around training. I like to see it, and honestly, while it's not critical, it is optimal, meaning that it isn't make or break. If your diet and training aren't on point, it's not going to do shit for you. However, if someone is paying for my coaching services, their diet's going to be optimal. Their training is going to be optimal. So the next step to make it even more better is to add in post-workout carbohydrate. While that won't make or break them, even if they get a 0.5% increase in recovery, so they come back and train harder the next day, they're going to see better results. So unless you're in a completely controlled program and you're doing things optimally, you're measuring your food, you're training balls to the wall on a proper training program, it's not really going to do much. But if let me put this in perspective a lot of you can understand by talking about food. You have your cake, okay? Your cake is diet and training, all right? Diet and training. That's your cake. It's the most important thing. It's the cake. You got the actual spongy part, Then you got your frosting, right? You got your frosting and your whipped cream. You know what that is? That's your supplements. It's not as important as the cake, but it just adds that little bit of flavor. Oh my goodness, you put that cream cheese on your red velvet cake, you're good to go. You know what post-workout nutrition is? It's if you decide to put a little bit of rainbow sprinkles on top. That's all it is. It's just a little extra. It's optimal, but it's not critical. So the post-workout anabolic window does exist. But yeah, there's that window within 1 to 2 hours where you get that glycogen supercompensation, okay? And then there's the big window where your post-workout energy expenditure, your EPOC, is elevated for about 39 hours post-weight training or HIIT cardio. 39 hours. Now again, it's not a straight curve. It's not a straight, it's a straight, curve. It goes up, but it's still elevated up to 39 hours after training. So there are many things. So what does this come down to? Let me go back to your question. Post-workout nutrition is optimal. However, still, it comes down to total macronutrients taken in, comes down to your diet and your training. If your macronutrients aren't on point, your post-workout nutrition means fuck all. I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions, go to my Facebook. That's not a game. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and click on the link in the description box below to sign up for the Tiger Fitness newsletter. Within a week of publishing this video, we will give out a $50 gift card to tigerfitness.com to one lucky person who does all of these steps.